Very interestingly enough, right before we got started recording, we talked about really expensive and how we're moving toward a situation where, due to insurance, due to overall cost, due to regulation, we're moving to a place where, unless you're literally a Fortune 1000 company, you're not going to be able to do any of these things yourselves. And the trend is moving to using MSSPs and things of that nature. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. What we've seen is that data, depending on the figures that you look at, like just the data we're producing at companies is growing at about 23 to 25% annually. And customers can't even keep up with the data that they're producing, much less applying security to that. And I think the pandemic really showed us that we have a lot of key person risk within SOC. So even if you have 20 people in your SOC, if you lose 2, that's 10% of your SOC. And I think there's a lot of trends converging with cyber risk insurance getting significantly more expensive. So I always liken it to, if you think about like a home security system, like if you have cameras in your house, your homeowner's insurance is a little bit less expensive. If they're actively monitored, your homeowner's insurance is a lot less expensive. And so I think MSSPs and MSPs are going to become pretty much just like that, in that if your security is actively monitored by a professional third party, it's going to be a lot easier to get risk insurance. And then also, of course, just transferring risk in general. And as we go through kind of tightening of the belt and tech, as the market turns down, we're looking to cut costs. That's one of the ways to do it. So I think that's going to be a trend that's going to continue for at least the next couple of years.
Yeah, mitigating risk, right? Because if we start moving to a service provider, and the standards that they're operating under are pretty much the same for everyone, all of a sudden there's a lot of stuff I used to have to worry about that I no longer have to worry about, because that guy has to worry about it, because all I have to do is cut him a check at the end of every month.
Yeah.
And from a super basic level, we made a joke outside about how, you're running a SOC, you've got 10, 12, 14 people in the SOC, and it's got a minimum cost. And for the minimum cost, what was the joke you said? We can't even run the company store for that amount of money.
Yeah, well, so actually, we were talking about the cost to hire a service provider, and it's like a quarter of what you would pay one security engineer. So, you can't even hire somebody to run a company store for what it costs to outsource security. So I think for a lot of economic reasons, it makes sense.
Yeah. This is Jackie McGuire. She represents Cribble. She's giving the keynote speaker. Hopefully you'll be able to come by and check it out. If not, and you want to learn a little bit more about Jackie, her company, what they do, and all the cool stuff they're coming up with, we're going to have a link down in the description box.